Welcome to the NDE Nutrition Services School Nutrition Program training. In this section, we'll take a look at the procurement process under the National School Lunch Program. Procurement isn't just about buying food, it's a structured and regulated process that helps schools get the best products at the best value while following all applicable rules. The USDA requires that all purchases, large or small, follow these principles: fair and open competition, transparency, and responsible use of taxpayer dollars. This process ensures schools get nutritious, high-quality products while protecting program integrity and public trust. In this section, we'll walk through the key steps of the procurement process, including identifying your program's needs, choosing the right purchasing method, selecting qualified vendors, documenting procurement actions, and managing contracts and performance. Even if you're not the one writing contracts, understanding these steps help ensure your school remains compliant, efficient, and focused on serving safe, high-quality meals to students. Let's get started by looking at how to determine what you need in the first steps of the procurement process. Let's start by clearing up an important distinction. Purchasing and procurement are not the same thing. Purchasing is the act of buying something, getting goods and services in exchange for money, while procurement, on the other hand, is a systematic, multi-step process. It includes everything from identifying what the program needs, to selecting a vendor, to managing a contract, and making sure you're getting the best value for your program. Why does this matter? Because your school food service program receives federal and state funds, you're required to follow USDA procurement rules, and that means using free and open competition. This means every qualified vendor must have fair and equal opportunity to compete for your business. No favoritism, no hidden deals, just a transparent process that ensures accountability and wise use of taxpayer dollars. Following these rules isn't just about compliance. It protects your program and ensures you're providing students, again, with safe, high-quality meals at a good value. Next, we'll look at how to identify your needs in the first steps of a successful procurement process. The rules for school food procurement come from federal regulations. 2 CFR Part 200, Uniform Guidance on the Use of Federal Funds. These regulations outline 3 types of purchases: micro purchases, informal purchases, and formal purchases. We'll go over the difference between these methods over the next few slides, so you can choose the right approach depending on the cost of your purchase and the rules that apply. Every sponsor is required to have a written purchase and procurement plan that describes how you will follow these rules. This plan ensures your purchases are compliant, transparent, and well documented. We'll walk through how to create and use the procurement plan on the next slides, and then we'll take a look at the 3 purchase types in more detail. In your handout packet, you'll find templates for both a procurement plan and a code of conduct, sometimes called Code of Ethics. We recommend reviewing these documents carefully and using them as a starting point to develop and update your own internal policies. It's important to know that Nutrition Services is required to conduct a procurement review of each sponsor every 3 to 6 years. During this review, we will request your procurement plan, code of conduct, and supporting documentation from purchases such as quotes, bids, contracts, or purchase records. Having a written plan and clear documentation not only helps you stay in compliance, it also protects your program and supports smart, transparent purchasing. Creating a purchasing plan is one of the best ways to stay organized, control costs, and stay in compliance with federal procurement rules. It helps you forecast, plan, and purchase in a way that supports both your menu and your meal counts. Here are key pieces your plan should cover. Forecast meal counts. Estimate how many meals you'll be serving over a given period. This could be daily, weekly, or monthly. This helps you plan quantities and avoid waste or shortages. Plan a cycle menu. Use a cycle menu to ensure your meals meet meal pattern requirements and create consistency in your purchasing needs. Order based on menu needs. Once the menu is set, plan your orders based on ingredients and food items needed, the number of meals you expect to serve, your order frequency, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. And last, solicit bids from vendors. Reach out to vendors with specific product and delivery details, including preferred delivery schedules, requests for local foods, payment due dates, and terms. Including these details in your plan helps you communicate clearly with vendors and makes it easier to compare quotes or bids. A clear purchasing plan not only supports program compliance, it also helps you serve consistent, high-quality meals to your students while staying within a budget. Effective procurement isn't just about buying what's cheapest. It's about selecting products that meet your site's needs and appeal to the students you serve. When you choose items that students actually want to eat, you can improve participation and reduce plate waste, which makes your program more efficient and successful. Procuring locally grown and produced foods is strongly encouraged. Locally purchasing can support fresher ingredients, support community farms and businesses, and strengthen students' connection to their food. When working with vendors, request bids, quotes, and ask vendors to clearly identify any locally sourced items and, if possible, label the product origin on packaging and invoicing. This helps you track local purchases and highlights them on menus in your cafeteria. While local sourcing is encouraged, you must still maintain free and open competition. That means no favoritism, no limiting competition to only local vendors, and all qualified vendors must have an equal opportunity to bid. By balancing your menu goals, student preferences, and compliance requirements, your program can offer nutritious, appealing meals while also supporting your local economy and maintaining procurement integrity. Let's take a closer look at the three types of purchases defined by federal procurement regulations based on the dollar amount of the purchase. The first is micro purchases. These are purchases under $10,000. No formal bidding is required. The price must be reasonable. You must distribute purchases equitably among qualified vendors, meaning don't always buy from the same place. Keep records to support your purchasing decisions. Think of this as your quick, low-cost purchases, but always keep documentation and rotate vendors to ensure fairness. The second is informal purchases. These are purchases less than $250,000. You must get at least 3 written quotes or bids. You must document the process, vendors contacted, and prices received. Choose the best value, not just the lowest price. This is your typical day-to-day food purchasing for most schools. Formal purchases, which are $250,000 or more, require a structured process. You must issue an invitation for bid or a request for proposal. Make a public announcement of the opportunity. Send the solicitation to multiple vendors. Conduct a formal bid opening, followed by an evaluation process where cost must carry the most weight. Milk and bread are often treated as separate procurements due to their short shelf life, unique pricing structures, specific delivery needs. However, SFAs cannot intentionally split purchases to stay under the small threshold just to avoid procurement processes. Even if a delivery is under $10,000, if your total annual spending on milk or bread exceeds the micro threshold, you must follow the appropriate procurement method. Some best practices are to track your aggregated spending for reoccurring items like milk and bread, use competitive procurement methods even when not required, getting multiple quotes when you can help find better pricing and service. Following these rules help ensure your spending program funds are wisely spent, fairly spent, and in compliance with USDA regulations. This slide demonstrates how the value of the procurement corresponds to the procurement thresholds. Federal small purchase threshold is $250,000. When the value of the purchase is estimated at less than or equal to $250,000, informal methods, including micro purchase and small purchase, may be followed. However, when the value of the purchase is estimated at greater than $250,000, formal procedures, including sealed bids, like IFBs, and competitive proposals, like RFPs, apply. If your organization's threshold is more restrictive, you must follow your procurement process. Now let's take a look at the Buy American provision, an important USDA requirement under the National School Lunch Program. The Buy American provision requires schools participating in the National School Lunch Program to purchase domestic food products, meaning they must be grown and processed in the United States as much as possible. This requirement helps support U.S. farmers and producers, protect American jobs, strengthen our local and national economy. The goal is to ensure that federal child nutrition dollars are being used to support American agriculture when it's practical and available. Next, we'll talk about what counts as domestic and when exceptions to the rule are allowed. There are exceptions, but they're very limited and must be well documented. You can only purchase non-domestic products if the product isn't available in the U.S. Examples, certain tropical fruits or spices. This also applies when it's not grown or produced domestically in sufficient quantity or quality. The second is Buy American would significantly increase the cost. This must be measurable and justifiable, not just a small price difference. It's important to remind you that documentation is required. If you claim an exception, you must document why the domestic product isn't available or affordable. Keep that documentation on file for procurement reviews or audits, and justify the purchase in a clear, consistent way. A helpful tool is the USDA Buy American decision tree, which is shown on the screen. This is also in your handouts. Use the USDA Buy American decision tree to help guide your decisions and stay compliant. It walks you through a step-by-step process for determining whether an exception is allowed. On the next slide, we'll talk about how to track and monitor your compliance with the Buy American provision and what additional tools you can use to support your efforts. To comply with Buy American provision, schools must take these important steps. Include Buy American language when making purchases. Make sure your food bids and contracts clearly state the requirement to purchase domestic products whenever possible. This language sets expectations with your vendors from the start. Check product labels. When receiving deliveries, verify product labels to confirm the country of origin. This helps ensure you're purchasing compliant products. Keep records of exceptions. If you purchase a non-domestic product due to an exception, document the reason carefully. Maintain this documentation for procurement reviews and audits. Be sure to train your purchasing staff. Make sure all staff responsible for buying know how to follow Buy American rules. Training helps prevent mistakes and keeps your program in compliance. By following these steps, you protect your program and support American agriculture. This year, new limits with phased-in caps on non-domestic food purchases has been implemented. The USDA has established a phased approach to limit the percentage of total commercial food costs that can be attributed to non-domestic food purchases. School year 25-26, the cap is set at 10%. This gradual implementation allows FSAs to adjust their procurement practices over time. Additional tracking methods and training will be provided on our webpage due to this new requirement and threshold. You can ask your vendors for Buy American attestation statements or quarterly velocity reports. This will help identify the origin of your products if it's not clear on your boxes or labels. In this slide, we're going to review important details about the USDA Food Program, also known as the Commodity Food Program. This program is administered by the Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, and provides entitlement dollars to schools and institutions. These dollars are specifically allocated for the purchase of domestic agricultural food products to support your meal programs. Schools must use these entitlement dollars annually to maximize the benefits. If you are a new food service director, be sure to contact DHHS to update your information. Keep this contact handy and reach out if you have any questions about USDA foods, entitlement, or how to best utilize these resources. Thank you for joining us in this training on the National School Lunch Program, Procurement and Purchasing Requirements. Let's quickly recap what you've learned. Procurement is a structured process that ensures your program gets the best value while following federal and state regulations. You now understand the different purchasing thresholds, micro, informal, and formal, and when to use each. The importance of written procurement plan and code of conduct cannot be overstated. They keep your program compliant and organized. You learned about the Buy American provision, why it matters, and how to properly document exceptions. We also covered the special considerations for items like milk and bread and tracking aggregated spending. And finally, you know where to find help and resources, including your USDA food program contact. Moving forward, keep these principles in mind to maintain transparency, accountability, and program integrity, all while serving safe, nutritious meals that support your students and local communities.